Fall to your knees, motherfucker, cause the devil gonna make you pay. Motherfucker is on his way.
How's it going, everybody? Today I thought that I would address a subject that comes up quite frequently as a studio owner, and that is becoming an apprentice. Definitely when you come in looking for an apprenticeship at a studio, want to make sure you have a clean, professional, concise portfolio. This means that you want to have examples of the best of what you have to offer. What you do not want to do is to have a sloppy, over-full portfolio with lots of scraps and bits of unfinished things and lots of smudges and eraser marks. It is better to have a portfolio with 3 to 5 excellent examples of what you can do than to have a portfolio with 50 examples of mediocre work. If you bring in not the best you can do, it's going to do you more damage than good. And speaking as a studio owner who's going to be looking through your work, I don't want to have to surf through everything you kind of sort of had done. So definitely make sure you put your time in to make your portfolio slick. Also, do not try to pass off your phone or your iPad or any other tablet as your portfolio. I know that this is the advanced age of technology and everything, but it doesn't matter. For tattoo purposes, if you want to be an apprentice, no tattoo studio is going to take you as seriously if you try to pass off your tablet as your portfolio. Instagram is not a portfolio. One thing you definitely want to do is be respectful. You have to consider that these people you're coming in and addressing for the first time potentially could be your master for a very long time, which means you want to be respectful. Having said that, you don't want to be obsequious. You don't want to be a bootlick, because that's going to come across as very false. And if there's one thing you do not want to do, it's be false. Again, you're potentially going to be spending a great deal of time with these people. You want to prove that you have what it takes. You want to prove that you're a person of integrity. And unfortunately, being a bootlick doesn't say that. Being a bootlick says you're a bootlick. A definite do is to be honest. I honestly myself don't care if you have been scratching in a basement for 6 months. What I do care about is if you come into my shop and say you haven't when you have been. Honesty is very, very important. If you've been doing things the wrong way for a while, let the potential person know that you've been doing things the wrong way for a while and that you want to fix that you want to get better, you want to correct what you've been doing. Be honest, don't be dishonest. You'll go a lot further admitting something that might be wrong than if you try to hide it. One thing that will definitely push you way ahead of the game is if you gain a working relationship with the artist you want to apprentice under, which means become their best client. Come in and get a lot of work, get a lot of tattoos, prove that you have the drive and desire to get as much work as possible and that you are passionate about this industry. If you walk into a studio and no one's ever seen you before, you're not going to get as far, because how do they know you? How do they have any way of knowing whether you're a person of integrity, whether you've got what it takes to last through the good and the bad? So you definitely want to establish a working relationship with the studio. And that goes more than just the artist as well. It goes for the whole studio. Again, remember, if you do succeed at becoming an apprentice somewhere, then the odds are you're going to be around everybody in that studio. And if 2 of those people have a problem with you, or you have a problem with 2 of those people, it's going to show. Now this is very, very important. Be prepared. If you're going to walk into a studio and ask for an apprenticeship, be prepared. Questions will be asked, and if you can't answer those questions, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. So for example, have a working understanding of what's going on in tattoo. We get this all the time in the studio. People that come in wanting to become an apprentice, and we ask them, well, who's your favorite artist? We don't even necessarily mean your favorite tattoo artist, just in general, who are the creative individuals that drive you? And countless times we've gotten, I don't know. That's an instant deal breaker for us. You must be prepared to answer a question like that on the spot. Let's face it, tattoo is a crucible of pressure. And if you, at the very, very outset, can't handle the pressure of being asked a question like, who's your favorite artist, without being able to answer, then that says that you're likely not going to be able to handle the pressure of tattooing itself. So again, be prepared. What you don't want to do is have no working knowledge of tattoo culture or history whatsoever. Again, this is a deal breaker. If you were to look for a job in an art gallery, and the manager of that art gallery in the interview asked you who Michelangelo was or Van Gogh, and you didn't know, do you think you would get too far in that job application? Well, the exact same thing is true for tattoo. You need to know, at the very least, who Stoney St. Clair was. You need to know Lyle Tuttle. You need to know who Ed Hardy is, and not just the shirt guy. You need to have a working understanding of the individuals who kept this entire industry afloat through the years, the dark ages of criminal outlaw tattooing, and allowed it to flourish into what we have now. Another do that you definitely want to keep in mind at all times is understanding that tattoo at its root is an illustrative art form and craft first. So when you come in with your portfolio full of tricks, you want to be able to show that you understand that tattoo is an illustrative craft at its core. And so you want to be able to show fundamentals, clean lines, line weight, these sort of fundamentals. That's the core of all tattoo. What you don't want to do is have a portfolio that only shows watercolor or mural work. Not that there's anything wrong with those forms of art, there's lots of validity to it. But in tattoo terms, those are advanced techniques, and any potential mentor is going to want to see that you have a grasp of the fundamentals first, so that you're not trying to run before you know how to walk. So tattooing is illustrative. Recognize that, embrace that first, then move on to the advanced art stuff. As a comparable do not use tattoo as a potential way to finance your real art. This is something that hits very close to home for me. I feel very passionate about, but it drives me insane when fine art students walk through my door and claim they want an apprenticeship because they want to make money off of tattooing so that they can then use that money to finance their real art. I find this personally to be very disrespectful to tattooing. This is my art form. This is my be-all, end-all of creative expression. And to have somebody come in and try to exploit that for crass personal gain, again, that is an instant deal breaker for me. If you want to show true respect for tattooing, learn to love tattooing. Don't just try to use it. Functionally, my craft and culture is not your fucking paycheck. Here is an absolute do. Have tattoos. I will never, ever take on an apprentice, no matter how good their art chops are, if they have no tattoos. There is no logic to wanting to get into this industry, this craft, if you have no tattoos. The analogy I use most frequently is it's like going to an auto mechanic who doesn't have a license or a car. How could you possibly trust that that individual has a clue about what your vehicle needs? The same is true with tattoo. So why would I try to teach somebody who's never experienced it? How could that person then possibly go on to be an artist for others without having experienced what they're doing? How is that person going to be able to relay to the client what it feels like, how the healing goes, when all they've got is a theoretical possible, well, I've been told it does this. Do not try to get into this business without tattoos. A do that you must embrace is perseverance. Do be perseverant. You have to drive to get into this for good reason. As mentors, as artists, we only want to see those with the drive to succeed come into this business because we know how much pressure there is to this. We know how hard it is. We know that the TV shows are not accurate to what the experience of tattoo is like. We want to see perseverance. Speaking personally, my apprenticeship was 1,000 miles from where I live. I was commuting every couple of months 1,000 miles to go work at the only studio I could find that would take me in. I don't believe there's any true excuses for people. They say, oh, it's hard, oh, I can't find anywhere. 1,000-mile commute, I have no sympathy for you. Persevere. Do what needs to be done to make it happen, not just make excuses for it. What you don't want to do is expect everything to be handed to you on a platter. This is not an easy path industry. This is not an instant gratification kind of thing to get into. You need to work and work hard and work long to reap the benefits of it. One of the biggest issues we have, one of the main reasons most people don't want to take apprentices anymore, is because so many people come into it wanting their apprenticeships to last 2 weeks and then have all the money and all the fame and all the rock star accoutrement. No, you must do what it takes. And that means eating a lot of shit. That means putting up with a lot of crap. It means making no money for a long, long time. But if you go through all that and do prove to the industry as a whole that you are willing to do anything it takes, then of course you will gain respect from artists. This is what we want in an apprentice. Somebody who is going to fight no matter what and not just roll over the moment it's a little bit hard. Perseverance, yes. Callow, weak-willed, oh golly, I just can't handle it. Fuck off, we don't have any time for that shit. And a bonus don't. If you're going to bring your portfolio of flash tattoo designs in, proud as you are of the old school, your mastery of old school designs, don't have typos in your fucking slogans. That actually happened like 4 days ago. Like, what the fuck, man?